Greetings and welcome to week 6 of COMM 110, Fundamentals of Public Speaking. Believe it or not, we are about 1/3 of the way finished with the semester already. Week 6 out of a total of 17 weeks. We have a busy week as far as coursework this week. In addition to our 2 chapters from the text, which you have reading guides and reading quizzes for, and discussion. We have our last minor speech before we do our first major speech, and we move a little bit closer towards you doing or beginning the process of preparing for your first major speech, the informative speech. The 2 chapters this week are Chapter 9 and Chapter 16. Chapter 9 is on organizing speeches, and specifically, a good part of the chapter deals with what are called organizational patterns. There are these patterns that have been used in many cases before, which are kind of common or typical patterns that you can organize speeches according to. Things like chronological pattern, spatial pattern, cause and effect pattern, and so forth. You'll learn about a variety of these different patterns this week and how they can be used to organize the main points and the content of a speech. And that'll be the subject of Chapter 9. In addition to using main points with supporting points to structure the content of a speech. So that's Chapter 9. Chapter 16 is our second chapter this week, and we're jumping out of sequence a little bit with the chapters, but I like to have you read the chapter on informative speaking this week, that we also get the assignment guidelines for the informative speeches. So Chapter 16 is sort of an overview of informative speaking as a type of speaking, and informative speeches as a type of speech. And so you'll get kind of the broad ideas of what sorts of things are involved in informative speaking, what purposes are fulfilled by informative speaking, and a variety of other things related to informative speeches. Then you will move from the list of 5 potential broad topics that you submitted last week towards, by the end of this week, a single broad topic that you will have settled upon, and which you will then use to develop the specific topics for your 3 major speeches. The first thing that you'll do is, for our discussion topic this week, you will take your list of 5 possible broad topics, and you'll narrow it down to just 2. And you will discuss those 2 finalist broad topics in the discussion forum for this week. So our discussion this week does not relate specifically or directly to anything that we are doing in any of our chapters that we're reading, but instead deals with a process that you're going through in terms of topic selection for your major speeches. We'll be doing that periodically from here on out in the discussions, using the discussion forum and your discussion postings to talk about the topics of the speeches you are preparing or that you are beginning to prepare, rather than talking about concepts directly out of the textbook. So you will narrow down your list of 5 to just 2 topics in the discussion forum, and hopefully get some feedback from classmates on the 2 finalist broad topics that you selected, and hopefully get a little bit of help there in deciding which of them to pick as your final broad topic. And then by the end of the week, you'll submit that to me, your single broad topic to me in the Dropbox, just like you did with the 5 broad topics list last week. So it's really important that if you have any questions about this process of selecting your single broad topic, that you let me know about that. I'm happy to field questions by email or phone this week as you begin to go through that process. And I've included a link in this week's homepage as well to the bonus video from last week that we looked at, in case you want to look at that again. To get the overview that I gave in that bonus video as far as selecting your single broad topic. Then this week we have got the assignment guidelines for the informative speech, your first major speech. You can download and read over those guidelines. You need to do that. And I won't say much more about those informative speech guidelines here, because there is a bonus video again this week that's about 13 minutes in length that goes into quite a bit of detail talking about many of the details of those assignment guidelines for the informative speech. So watch that video for some more details related to those assignment guidelines. One thing about that bonus video is that I decided that the bonus video that I recorded last semester, spring semester, for the informative speech assignment guidelines was still suitable for using for this semester. My assignment guidelines have not changed, and so all of the information in that bonus video that was recorded last semester is still valid and still applies. The one thing that is different is that at the end of that video, I mention what the due date was for the spring semester class as far as when the informative speech had to be completed. Of course, that is not, that March date that I mentioned there is not your deadline. Your deadline is Wednesday, October 17th, which is in the syllabus and that you can see in those guidelines, in the document of this semester's guidelines. The last thing that you're going to be doing this week is another minor speech, and the last minor speech that you'll do before you begin to do the major speeches. It's called the speech of definition. You had a sneak peek, or a preview if you wish to, last week of the assignment guidelines for the speech of definition. Basically, what is involved in the speech of definition is you pick a word. It should be an abstract word, that represents an emotion or a principle or some sort of an abstract concept. Then you will give a speech talking about both the denotative meaning and the connotative meanings of that particular word. Denotative meaning is the dictionary meaning. What does it say in a dictionary when you look up that word in the dictionary? Connotative meaning is what associations or what meanings does that particular word have for you as a person. And this is where you can get into a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of personal disclosure, and letting us know a little bit more about yourself through the word that you have chosen and what that word has meant to you. You can read full information about the speech of definition in the guidelines that are linked to on this week's homepage. Now, there's two things about the speech of definition that are a little different and that are new from the previous speeches that you've submitted. Because this is our last minor speech, we're introducing a couple of things that you haven't had before, but that you will have in the major speeches. The first of those is a particular time frame, or a specific time frame that you are going to have to meet. The speech of definition is going to have to be at least 3 minutes, or a minimum of 3 minutes, but not longer than 4 minutes, a maximum of 4 minutes in length. So that is the time frame that you're going to have to tailor your speech or prepare the content of your speech for. And if you fall outside of that time frame, either being too short or being too long, you will lose points on the assignment. Because part of the skill of learning how to prepare and deliver public speaking presentations is being able to hit a particular time frame and give a speech of a particular time frame that you have been assigned. The second thing that's new this week is that you're going to have some preparation paperwork to submit. This is the first time where you have to actually submit to me preparation paperwork that you have used to get ready to deliver that speech. Now, you've probably had some paperwork or some preparations, things that you've written down in the previous speeches, but this is the first time that you're going to have to submit those to me, and that they will be part of your speech grade for this speech. The preparation paperwork will be. So those are two things that are new with the speech of definition, and they are designed to get you a little closer to what you're going to be doing and the things you're going to need to submit for the major speeches, the first one of which is the informative speech, which the preparation process for which you will begin to embark on this week.